living life to the max, just like my podcast.
And we are back on another episode of Life to the Max. It's your co-host, Eric Dutcher. The main host, the Quad Father, a.k.a. Maximilian Gross. Look how handsome he looks at this angle. He's motherfucking glowing with the shining lights in the background. And we got our favorite lesbian in the building. Me and Max's absolute favorite lesbian, Megan.
Me and Max.
And Megan. Getting on the podcast again.
Yeah.
Talking about being lesbian.
All right.
Too much?
Yeah, too much.
Megan, for the people who haven't heard your first episode, you were one of the OGs. I
was.
It was what episode was it, Max? Maybe 4?
Episode 3.
It was called I Think I'm Gay.
I think I'm gay.
Yeah.
Should definitely go listen to it.
Yeah. She shared the platform with George, one of Max's gay nurses, and it was just a very, very hey podcast.
Not because of me.
No, it was a group effort.
It wasn't hey. It was more like hey.
Yeah. It wasn't shooting the basketball. It was just.
It was just the follow through.
Yeah, it was just the follow through. Yeah. But no, I wanted to give you the opportunity to really have an episode, individually for yourself.
Yeah.
So introduce yourself to the people all over again.
Oh well, hello people all over again. I'm Megan, the token lesbian. If you don't remember from the 3rd episode, I was also shot at one point in my life.
Oh, wait. I made a crucial mistake.
How dare you?
We must get into your episode right after the intro, Max.
Thank you.
It's paralyzed from the neck down, breathing through a machine, but that doesn't stop me from following my dreams and doing what I love to do. I don't got an excuse, and neither should you. I love you all. Let's do this.
Yo, I love them too. Let's do this.
I'm down.
All right, Megan. Kindly don't rip my head off for making that mistake.
I'll do it later. There's cameras now. I know better than to leave evidence.
Okay. Don't show her where the backup memory cards are, Meg.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Damn it. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, token lesbian, which is super exciting. I was, how long ago was it now? I think 3 years ago. 3 years ago, maybe? At some point, I was shot because I was married, which was a fatal mistake. Don't get married, kids.
This story is so wild, I'm still going to react as if it's my first time hearing it.
I feel like we should unravel. So like your upbringing, how was
start
that?
from the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay,
and
so
then we'll get to you getting shot in the fucking chest.
Yeah, let's go in chronological.
Okay, I like that.
When did you realize you were a token lesbian?
Keep the people holding on for something more.
Yeah.
I like
exactly,
that. Don't want to pull a Quentin Tarantino and start. So, I mean, my upbringing was pretty, I would say, normal in the textbook sense of it. My parents are high school sweethearts, which is the cutest thing in the entire world.
I feel like that's rare nowadays.
It is. And, they love each other so much that I almost hate them.
Yeah.
Because your parents tell you that, we're high school sweethearts and that. And then all of a sudden you go into high school and you're
don't find anybody.
You're like, where's the love of my life?
Yeah, this district sucks.
Yeah. Well, and then plot twist, you're a lesbian at a Catholic high school. It's a whole thing.
Wait, so where did you, where was your upbringing? Where did you live?
So I grew up in Elgin. So I grew up playing Little League and volunteering and things like that. So huge sense of community was instilled in all of us growing up.
Nice.
And that pretty much, I think that played kind of a huge role in how both of my brothers and I kind of are now, because we're still all about our community and making sure our neighbors are good and just being there for other people.
I admire that.
But then, I went to Catholic high school for 1 million years. I think 11 or 12 years, all through high school, most of middle school and everything like that. And I came out when I was 18.
When did you realize you were attracted to women?
I think I always kind of knew.
Did you ever make a move on a girl?
No, because I'm kind of a scared little bitch.
I mean, dude, I kissed a dude when I was in 2nd grade.
No, I was actually.
This is new information.
I know, good.
Well,
Max, say it with some confidence.
I literally held him down during fucking recess.
Oh, dude, you forced it. You
Dominance.
sexually assaulted a man in 2nd grade. You sexually assaulted a boy, Max.
Yeah.
Held him down, kissed him. Take my cooties.
And I don't regret it. You know why? Because I'm not into dudes.
There you go. I love that.
He said, I just wanted to figure something out.
I
just wanted to knock it out the way. Mwah. Didn't like it? Cool. I'm straight.
I mean, but you have to, like, when you're in the locker room, you have to admire that guy that comes out and he's just like slinging like a fucking.
Max.
We're getting into some real stuff.
Maybe you know what, Max? I encourage you to kiss another guy and really make sure.
Shut the fuck up.
You know, like let's just test your 2nd grade theory. What if you didn't force the kiss enough?
No.
Oh, there
What
you
if
go.
you weren't rough enough?
No. Hell no.
Max. Max, look at that smile you got with the subconscious
heterosexual.
imagination of the situation.
I can admire a fucking person like Brad Pitt. Come on.
So you'd be gay for Brad Pitt?
No.
But what are you saying?
That he appreciates Brad Pitt.
Like, I appreciate the way it looks, man. Like, I used to be a model, bro. Like, so, like, we, like, used to, like, you know, like, okay, we got to work on this, we got to work on that. Like, I appreciate the way you look there, you know, like, stuff like that. Like, I know it sounds fucking weird, but, I mean, that's, like, I don't know. I don't think it's gay to admire the way a dude looks.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't think so either, but you know, maybe we could dive deeper into this on another episode when Max explores his sexuality.
You're such a dick.
Yeah, that's not happening. I already know my sexuality.
How would you feel if I forced you down right now and just gave you a juicy kiss?
I would fucking sue you.
He's like, I'd fucking kiss you back. I mean, I'd sue you.
Yeah, hard.
All right, let's go back to being lesbians, not gay guys.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm not gay. All right, I'm not.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What? All right, back to Megan.
Back to me. Yeah, I guess I always kind of knew that I felt differently than other people, but I didn't know the word to put with it because it's not how it is today, where gender identity and things like that are taught and talked about in such a young age. I just knew I was different. So I think it wasn't until high school that I knew the word for it. And then I had a couple gay friends, and then I kissed a girl for the first time, and all of a sudden Taylor Swift songs made sense.
Kissed a
Yeah.
girl.
See, it was actually around that time that song came out, actually.
Hey, Max with the Q.
But
So fast with it.
I know. It's like he was prepped.
Yeah, he knew what you were going to say.
Katy Perry was my shit. I would run to that in the army anyways. So
Yeah.
keep
See, I
going.
was
Yeah.
Kesha when I would run. It was always Kesha. Just
Katy
like my-
Perry is in replay in Max's mind. So
there
as soon as
are
you
worse
gave a
things.
hint of that, just came out.
Firework, you know, just gets me going. It gets me hard.
That's a good one.
Or you continue.
So that's once I finally kind of figured out after kissing a girl for the first time and knowing that verbiage, then I actually did come out. And my family was actually pretty okay with it. My brothers, I swear to God, knew before I came out. They're like, oh, okay, whatever.
Normally how it is.
Yeah, they were
How
like,
many movies have you seen where they're like, hey, everyone, I'm gay? And the whole family's like, we know.
and you're just like,
Yeah.
damn, because there's such a buildup because your
Yeah.
brain automatically thinks like, and because it does happen where adult or parents kind of disown their kids and things like that. And
Yeah.
I grew up in the Catholic Church. So that was very, very wrong.
Yeah.
So I had this whole big buildup, and then for like my brothers just be like, all right, cool. Like, you want a cake? I'm like, well, this is anticlimactic. Like, shit.
That's funny.
I mean, so reading the Bible, obviously in Catholic Church.
Oh, yeah.
Did you like feel wrong reading the Bible, or do you think like you know, Jesus forgives?
I think that, well, so my grandma, my mom's mom, she was divorced back in a time when getting divorced wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Where when you were divorced, you couldn't get the Eucharist and things like that, and she still did. And at one point, I think it was my mom or maybe my aunt had asked her, like, why do you still do that if you're not supposed to? And her response was, my relationship with God as my own and no one else's. And that's kind of how I've always viewed it too.
Yeah.
I am Christian now. I do
I'm
have
Christian
a church.
as well.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a church and I have my faith and things like that. But I think that my relationship with God is my own.
Yeah.
And it's not for someone to tell me that something's wrong, especially when it's a book written many, many, many years ago
Yeah.
by white men. So that doesn't really make any sense to me.
I mean, but there is scripture in there where it says that, like, I mean, obviously it doesn't say straight up that, like, homophobia is okay, but there's scripture in there where it, like, says, like, Jesus forgives you.
Yeah.
God forgives you.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
like, there's, like, so I feel like when the whole gay topic comes up with like, you know, religion, like, I feel like there's a lot of things that you can, like, find in the Bible, like in Exodus or something, to where you can prove people wrong and say, you know, like, I have my relationship with God, you can have yours.
Yeah, absolutely. And because one of the ones that's always gets brought up is man shall not lie with another man,
Yeah.
which is like the coined phrase of being gay is wrong. But what that actually is talking about is how when a woman is menstruating, she was considered unclean. So they could go take a bed, the husband can go take a bed, but not with another man. So it wasn't even necessarily about sex.
Interesting.
Right.
So they bring that up, but then all of a sudden I bring up the Beatitudes, like blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. And all of a sudden
you really
everybody
know.
just gets really quiet.
She went to Catholic school. What do you expect, bro?
Very nice.
So I mean, and when I waited tables and things like that, like people, they're, you know, because people say, like, you don't talk about religion, you don't talk about politics.
Yeah.
People love to talk about religion, people love to talk about politics. I really don't care, partially because I've played that game my entire life.
My brother is fucking obsessed with politics.
On
Yeah.
the show, we try to remain neutral because we don't want to stiff arm say, "Hey, no politics, no
yeah.
religion,"
No,
because we
we're
want to
okay
invite
with
all
it.
types of guests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't want to accidentally cause division with our audience.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
You know, so-
But I try to keep it as bland as possible. But whenever someone, like, I think that the basis of any religion is love. Love yourself, love your other people, and pretty much number one rule, don't be a douchebag.
Yeah.
And I think that we as people misconstrue that. And so that's just kind of how I live my life. So that's what I tell people I believe in. I just believe in being a good person.
Yeah.
And
I mean, yeah, you said you give back to the community, you know, and you're a nurse now. You know,
finally graduated.
graduate being a nurse. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I know it's a little late, but I mean, friggin', like there's no reason to like fight it. Like if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. But I do have one question. What do you think of pronouns? Like these, like the new pronouns, like not he or she,
Like the he, she, they, them, you know?
they, them, yeah. Like,
I mean, I think that there are so many things in this world that we need to worry about, whether it's, I just think that there are bigger issues, you know, like our healthcare system is absolutely disgusting. For one,
it is, yeah.
we're battling inflation. A dozen eggs costs more than I've ever seen in my entire life. It's too expensive to buy a plane ticket or drive your car to go on vacation. So that's kind of a big one. I think that there are so many big issues out there. I think that this is a non-issue. I think that we should just respect each other. And
Yeah.
I think that
We're
us worrying
just
about
finding something to bicker about.
well, I think that if that's what makes people comfortable, that's what makes people
Do you-
comfortable.
I
It
mean,
doesn't.
do you
It
think
costs you
they're-
nothing to be a good person.
Do you think they're finding it to make other people bigger?
No, I think if we were going to branch back to how she was describing religion, you know, like
Yeah.
I believe in what I believe in, and I'm trying to be positive and just treat everyone with love, yada, 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 and not cause division, you know, however you want to be called to be comfortable, then feel free, but don't throw it in someone's face.
Yeah.
Because then that's causing division,
Yeah.
you know, but if you just want to have your opinion and walk with it and not argue about it, do that.
Yeah.
You know, don't get offended by somebody else's beliefs because that's how war happens.
Exactly.
Nobody likes war except Max.
I mean, like, do you think it should be indoctrined? Like, shoved down our throats?
No.
No.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the opposite. Nothing should be shoved down our throats. Everything should naturally fall into place.
I think, though, that sometimes the people who are more of the outlier, like for a while it was like the gay people. Now it's like the bisexual people and like the gender neutral people. I think that, and I could be wrong, I just speak from my own experience, that we're so used to people coming at us, we try to strike first. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that gets put as you're jumping down my throat and things like that, when it's almost like a defense mechanism. Like if I get my phrase in first and if I snap first, you're not going to step to me. Again, that may not be what it is. That's just how I feel in my own personal experience. But
Interesting. Retell me the story of when you originally told me the conversation with your mother.
Oh God. So my mom is my best friend. We do a lot together between like 5K obstacle courses and like we call them angry girl pop car sessions where we just scream Pink lyrics for everyone to hear. But
sounds like good bonding.
Oh yeah, she's great. Kitty's awesome. But So I had this big secret to tell, and my mom's like the first person in my family I'm going to tell because she's my best friend. Mm-hmm. And we were sitting on the couch, and we're watching Tila Tequila, because this was back when that was a thing. That's
what a good setup.
So delivery. I know, right? I was like, oh, it's perfect. And because my mom, like, she's flipping through. She's like, I don't understand this whole bisexual business.
And you're like, I do.
Well, no, I just started giggling.
Yeah.
Because I don't often giggle, but like when I get really nervous, I get like this really weird giggle because I don't know how to respond. And I'm like, here's my shot. Like, don't blow it. But I just sound like an idiot. And I was like, my mom looks at me, she's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, I'm going to go get some water. So I go to the kitchen, and like we lived in this small house in Elgin at that time. Mm-hmm. And I went and got water, and I'm like lost in the kitchen. In this teeny tiny house. Mom's like, what are you doing? And so I come back, and I'm like, she's like, is there something you want to tell me? And I was like, I think I'm bi. And she was like,
I'm getting sausage, Mom.
But so then it was a whole big thing because my mom didn't understand being bisexual. It was pick one. It was this, that, and the other. And so she would ask me like every other day, like, have you made a decision? Have you made a decision? And so
did she keep it between you guys?
She did. She did. Yeah.
Brownie points for her.
I know, right? So that was huge. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why we're still so close today. Cause like, she's my confidant.
I can trust you.
Yeah. I'm like, this was the test you passed. Yeah. But so she'd be like, have you made a decision yet? And I'd be like, no, like, cause at that point, like I hadn't slept with anybody. So I don't know anything, you know? And so finally, I think it was like a week and a half later, I was like, Mom, I'm a lesbian. And she was like, well, have you ever slept with a man? And I was like, no. And she's like, well, then how do you know? And I looked at her, I said, Mom, have you ever slept with a woman? And she's like, no. I said, well, how do you know you're not a lesbian? And she's like, touche. And that was the last time she ever brought it up.
That's funny.
And so then we entered the time when I was very hypersensitive to everything that was gay. Like if you said something was like gay, then you're an asshole. You don't understand me. You don't respect me. And so that was an interesting time. Just because you're so hypersensitive, because coming out is like going through puberty all over again. And it is terrible. And so my mom at one point, she gave me a hug. She's like, this doesn't make you any less of a woman. And I was like, I know. Like, thought the point of being a lesbian was like, yep, I'm a woman who likes women.
Didn't
like,
have to tell me
I was like, oh shit, I was gonna go water my penis pills. Looks like that's not gonna work.
Penis plants.
And so we battled through that. That lasted a while. But yeah, I mean, now it's just kind of whatever.
Yeah, I was trying to pull out the quote you gave me when she said, I want you to be the best you can be.
Oh yeah, so So that's
Golden
because
star.
I've never had sex with a man, I'm considered a gold star. And
A
when
gold star lesbian.
Yeah, gold
That
star
means
lesbian.
You have a perfect rating.
Yes,
you know,
I'm.
no tainted
I don't know if that I was gonna say like gold star on Uber Eats, but I feel like that's
Uber
Eats. Yeah, like I was
That
like,
works.
yeah, right. But I always say that like it's because my mom
Definitely
told
works.
me to be the best at anything I choose. So I was going to be the best damn lesbian I could possibly be,
Very
like
nice.
gold star.
I salute that.
Yeah. So that's my family's wild. We make fun of the things that are uncomfortable, just because if you can make humor out of it, then it's like you're going to get through it.
I'm very happy that you went through that so powerfully and smoothly with your family, with the support, because back then it was totally different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was probably like one or two people that were open and gay comfortably.
Yeah.
You know, compared to 10, 15, 20 years now when everyone's more free.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so more socially accepted. But I wanted to take your story and transition to this golden star lesbian that took a bullet and wasn't phased, right, Max?
Right. I was in the hospital for
She took a bullet.
She took a bullet from a lesbian.
I did.
And then looked at that lesbian and asked her, "Did you really just shoot me?" Just like that.
It's almost like he was there.
It's almost like I was there. Indoors, bang! She looks down,
So it's your birthday.
looks back
Yeah.
up.
It's your birthday, and it's your birthday.
Yeah,
it's your
it's my
birthday.
Oh, Max.
So explain it.
So we were.
I want to hear this beautiful birthday gift.
Yeah,
It was so
I think
good.
Max fell asleep during that story.
Shut up. No, I didn't.
Oh, it was later on in that episode.
Oh, it was George's.
It was
Oh,
George's
you fell asleep
story.
in George's story. We'll get George back on in a
Jesus.
private.
Yeah.
private episode.
That was really mean to do. But yeah.
Yeah. In the beginning of our interview days, our manners were different. You know, we've grown, we've gotten better, just as we have with everything that we've went through endeavors. I tried rhyming.
I feel
Anyways,
like you're just there's
okay.
a lot of verbiage
Yeah,
happening.
obviously I have a lot of things to get better with. Anyways, let's tell this story where you got shot.
So by
your wife.
By my wife. My ex-wife.
Let's be clear.
Yeah,
Ex-wife.
ex-wife.
Yeah,
Ex-wife. We went out to celebrate my birthday.
Can't forgive a bullet going through you.
Oh,
huh?
the thing is she was like, didn't understand why that was a thing. Like that should have been a non-issue, you know? Oh my gosh.
Like, why didn't you shoot me back?
Yeah, I'm like,
All right, yeah, sorry, we're playing ping pong. Let's
so
go.
we're out, we're
Run with the
celebrating
ball.
my birthday, and she was supposed to be DD that night because we're out for my birthday. So we go, and she is on prescription Xanax, and she had popped one, I guess, before we went in, and then she'd had a couple drinks. Well, she got all sorts of screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was out on the dance floor because we were at, where the heck were we? One of those line dancing bars. And yeah, because I'm that white. Don't give me that look, Eric.
Like do-si-do line
No,
dancing?
not like do-si-do. Like it's almost like the electric slide is kind of like, it's
Interesting.
just,
It sounds like a good time.
it's
Everyone has a turn dance.
yeah, it's a thing.
Sounds like 8th grade.
It was. But you could drink a lot and still lose weight because you're dancing and moving around. So that was super fun. But so she tossed the keys at me and took off outside. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? So I go outside and she's puking. And I'm like, motherfucker. And so I get in the car and I am horribly inebriated. And we had a friend in the car who had like 2 drinks.
Was this before Uber?
No, this wasn't before Uber. I was too drunk to get Uber to work. I'm like staring at my phone, like I'm calling a taxi, and I don't even know. Like I think I started playing like Sims on my phone or some shit. Like
Yeah.
I was just way too drunk.
How many years ago did you say this was?
Definitely.
3 or 4?
Definitely got to
Yeah,
play
I
Sims.
think it was like 4. I don't know.
Not that long ago.
I
In
know, but
retrospect.
dude,
But
like,
it feels like so long ago.
Dude, like when you're drunk, The Sims is the way to go.
I know, right?
Honestly, like that's the way to go.
Because
Let's stay focused.
I'm
Let's
sorry.
stay focused.
Okay, so,
Fuck the Uber.
so I start driving because my friend who was also in the car doesn't want to drive because she had 2 drinks, even though we had been there for like 5 hours. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So it wasn't until like, I think I had barely made it out of the parking lot and I pulled over. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm going to kill someone or us. And so my friend finally starts driving. We get home. her car was at the house. So she just took her car, drove back to her place. And my ex went and got in the shower. I let the dogs out and things like that. Well, then I go in the bathroom and I'm like, hey, you're an asshole. Tonight was actually supposed to be about me. And you somehow made it still about you. Like, you're just, what the hell?
Sounds like a good couple argument.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Super strong. But then I realize we're both drunk. Nothing good comes when two drunk people are arguing.
Facts.
So I just take myself
Two
out.
lesbians.
Yeah, two lesbians. There's
Two
just
drunk
so
lesbians.
much, so many feelings.
Yeah.
But so I take myself
You
out.
love to me.
But so I take myself out and I go to sleep on the couch. And so then she comes out of the bathroom and she like pushes me awake. And I'm like, the hell? And she's like, you don't care. No one cares. And I'm like, what are you talking? Like, just go to bed. And she's like, no, you don't care. You don't even care if I killed myself. And like, I'm like, just go to bed. I'm trying to tell her, like, just go to bed. We'll figure this out tomorrow. We'll get coffee. We'll talk about it.
Has she behaved like that before?
Yes.
Okay.
So
this
there,
is reoccurring.
yeah. So
personality.
anytime we would get into a fight, she would basically try to push me out of the house because she knew I couldn't afford the house on my own. So she would try to push me out of the house. And then the minute I'd be like, all right, well, screw off. Like, I'm going to go hang out at my parents for a while. She would be like, well, when you come home, I won't be here. I'm like, well, that's very cryptic. So the gun that I got shot with, I had actually pulled out of her hands because she was going to hurt herself a couple of times that, like 2 or 3 times that year. So I should have taken that, like, in retrospect.
So let me back up. She's yelling at you, you don't care if I killed myself, and then she grabbed the rifle and she's yelling this?
No.
It's
So
not a rifle, bro.
it was a 9mm.
Oh.
You make me sound
For
way
some reason,
cooler.
I
If it
thought
was a rifle, I'd be screwed.
Okay, so she grabs a handgun.
So I was finally like, just go to bed. We'll figure this out tomorrow. Like, we'll get coffee. We'll talk about it, whatever. So she goes upstairs. And I'm like, okay, cool. She either went to bed or she went to go get a pillow to sleep on the other side of the couch.
It wasn't either. She went to go get
a Sig Sauer 9mm.
Let's go.
And I heard her clear the chamber as she was coming down the stairs.
There you go, Max.
There was good. And so I looked to the stairs and I just saw
He's
her
on
coming
point
down.
with it.
He really is. I saw her coming down the stairs with the gun. And one of the last things I remember is getting up off the couch and walking to the stairs. And then the next thing I remember, I am kneeling in front of her with my hands on my sides. And her eyes are big and she's like, oh my God, I just shot you. And I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? And she's like, I just shot you. I'm like, stop lying. Like, whatever, the fight's over. You shot me. Haha. She's like, no, I just shot you. And I pulled my robe back because I had a bathrobe on. I looked and I was like, I saw the hole and I was like, oh shit. Like, this is real life.
Wow.
So,
You're lucky you were drunk.
Yeah,
That probably would have hurt like a bitch.
that's that. And like, it's adrenaline at that point
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I think even sometimes sober, some people react like that. Like,
Yeah.
it's the shock and it's the adrenaline.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually think the alcohol in your system might have made you bleed out faster if you.
I think it did, but I think it made me like, I feel like if I would have tensed up,
Resilient.
it's almost like when drunk drivers get into accidents.
Yeah.
Drunk drivers are usually okay because they're so relaxed.
Right,
they're just
right,
like
right.
limber.
Assholes.
Yeah.
But
Such an unfortunate circumstance, but yes.
yes, absolutely. But so she starts running around looking for the phones. We can't find the phones because we were both drunk and we left them in the car. I know that now. But I'm like, you need to go to a neighbor's house and call 911. So she takes off to go call 911. I just I focus on my breathing. I calm
You're
myself
so
down.
calm the
I was
whole
so
time.
weird because
Yeah.
I'm such a like ADD chipmunk sometimes that
Yeah.
like I'm just so like built up, but I was so calm. Like I
What were you drinking? Dark or white?
I don't even remember.
She was mixing it all.
I was.
If you
I
were
probably
mixing
was.
all
Drinking whatever was
I mean,
handed to her.
dude, it's fine. She's like, just grab the whiskey. We'll just pour
I'm
it
pretty
on
sure
it.
I was drinking like Miller Lights and Vegas bombs.
What is a
and maybe some
lesbian's drink of
Jameson.
choice? Miller
Oh God,
Lights?
I have no
Yeah.
idea.
I see
I have
lesbians
no
drinking Miller
idea.
Lights for sure.
Bunch of bougie lesbians like, hey, let's work on our pickup truck. But so
Like the fish bowls, the
Oh my
fucking big
God.
ass drinks.
I feel like girly girls like those things. They're colorful.
I like them.
I mean, they're good. They're good.
I see you drinking whiskey on the rocks and Miller Lights.
I'm not a whiskey girl. No. I mean, I like Jameson, don't get me wrong, but I can't just be like, I want Jameson on the rocks.
Fire.
I like Jameson and like ginger ale is good.
No.
All right, so a mixture of a bunch of drinks
just
made
a bunch
you
of
calm
stuff
through this whole situation and carry on when you were practicing your breathing.
I concentrated on my breathing, made sure that I didn't like hyperventilate. I found my spot on the wall that I just kind of stared at and like talked myself down. Like,
were you in nursing school?
No, I actually applied and was accepted to nursing school several years prior, but couldn't go because of financial issues.
Oh, right, because you couldn't even afford the house.
Yeah, because I was in veterinary medicine. I was a vet tech.
Okay.
And so she come running back because they didn't answer. And she's gonna drive me to the hospital, and I'm like, no,
drunk drive me while I'm drunk bleeding out.
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah. So I told her, I was like, I don't know how bad this is, and I need help now. So I need you to go to the other neighbor and knock on every window and door until they help you, because I need help. So she takes off again, and at this point, I'm still on the stairs. I'm just because I figured if I got up, I might pass out. So I just got low on the stairs.
Are you like putting pressure on the roof?
So I was holding kind of like my chest, like right here. And I just got really low on the stairs because I figured if I tried to stand up, I was going to fall backwards and hit my head.
Well, yeah, because you're drunk.
Yeah. And there's just so much happening. Yeah. And so I wiggle my fingers so I know that my arm's fine. I know that I'm breathing, so I know it didn't hit a lung. I know that I'm still alive, so it didn't hit my heart. So at this point, I'm like, whatever happens, happens. Like, I'm going to be all right.
I love your common sense in this.
But I don't have common sense in real life. That's the bad thing.
Well, you know you got it when it counts. That's all that matters.
If Eric shot me, I'd be like, you fucking just shot me, you motherfucker.
Yeah, and if I ever had to shoot you, I would be fully calm, like, there's a reason.
Good night, bitch.
Right,
definitely wouldn't be on accident like your ex-wife.
Well, I don't. The jury's still out on that, but so she came back and she started changing her clothes, which is like the weirdest thing to me. The only thing that I could like maybe think of was she was so screwed up for some reason she thought she was coming with me. Because like if I shot someone that I loved, I would be like right by their side, like holding pressure, talking to them. No, she was running all over the house, changing her pants. And so I was like,
maybe she was trying to like hide evidence or something.
Well, no, because the gun was by my head.
She admitted to everything.
Oh, yeah, there was no denying it.
So I don't think she was
because it was just her and I.
Maybe that, when people are panicking, they do weird things.
That's true. So that's kind of what I chalk that up to. So the police come in. And I realized that one of the things I had been playing with to like help me keep calm was an unspent bullet. And I'm like, well, this is ironic.
Nice.
Because the gun was still by my head. Mm-hmm. So the police, and I didn't even know. So the police come in, they have to clear the situation. On the staircase.
Okay.
And so the police get the gun, things like that. And it wasn't until I got flipped over and put on the bed that it was a through and through, because I saw the hole in the wall and I was like, oh shit. I definitely wasn't applying enough pressure.
Just bleeding on the other side.
Yeah, it's fine. So we get on the ambulance, and I'm cracking horribly inappropriate jokes because that's just what I do. Yeah. And we finally get to the hospital, and obviously she's arrested. And
obviously,
well, I would hope so, right?
Did they arrest her immediately?
Yes.
No questions asked.
No, you shot.
Arrest and then questions.
Well, because it's.
Was it attempted murder?
No, so they went after her for unlawful discharge of a firearm.
Area. I knew they were going to say that.
And it was something else. But it wasn't attempted murder.
They should have went after her for attempted murder. I mean, they should. She
played the game so freaking well. It's ridiculous.
It's probably because like it wasn't hollow point.
Well, so that's actually, I'm very lucky that she grabbed the clip that she did, because the gun wasn't loaded. It was in the range bag with two clips. One was home defense and one was range bullets.
And luckily her dumbass picked the wrong bullets.
Yeah, I'm so happy she grabbed the range bullets. But so we get to the hospital. One of the nurses comes in. She's like, this is going to be a scar, right? And I was like, it's all right. Chicks dig scars. And she was like, what?
Yeah.
the register person comes in. She's like, "Who's your emergency contact?" I said, "Well, it would have been my wife before she shot me, and here we are." And she didn't know what to say, so she just scampered out of the room. She's like, "What? I don't even know what to say."
What about your mom? I thought she's like your best friend.
She is, but at that point, like wife versus but I kept calling out for my mom, and I didn't know her number by heart, and I didn't have my phone. And so the police finally found my phone.
That's a you problem.
Yeah, that is definitely a me problem. So the police finally found my phone and they called my mom. And it's 3-something in the morning. So obviously she doesn't answer. They leave her a message. So the nurse comes in. I'll never forget her. Her name was Jamie. And she never left my side because at that point I didn't have any identification. So I was a Jane Doe.
Hey, we're kind of similar.
No identification? Are you a Jane Doe too?
I was a John Doe.
Yeah.
They were looking all over for me when I got in my car accident. They were like, okay, he's in the Army. Let's call Fort Campbell. And then they called it MPs. And it was fucking crazy. Like, it took them 19 hours to figure out who I was.
It's a terrible, terrible feeling. It's worse than getting shot is being a Jane Doe. Because at that point, like, you have that feeling if you're conscious enough to where like I could literally die right now
and nobody's gonna know
and no one would know. And it is
crazy.
the worst feeling in the world. But Jamie never left my side because I actually heard a couple people refer to me as Jane Doe. And Jamie never left my side, and she called me by my name. And every once in a while, like when a test result or like a scan would come back normal, there'd be like that moment of silence because people were starting to kind of relax because then I wasn't as critical as I could have been. And that's when I would start to get emotional and like start to cry. And then I would stop. I would just cut it off. And so finally, they come up with my parents' address and she's like, I can send some police officers to go get them. Is that what you want? And I was like, no, it's fine. Like my mom will hear the message and she'll come. And she's like, yeah, so you haven't cried yet, and you're going to need to do that. So the police are actually already on their way to get your mom. And so I looked at her because at that point I was being moved. I was getting moved to the floor now. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And she's like, you heal, because that's all you can do. And I started to cry and I was like, I don't know how to do this. And I grabbed her hand and I'll never forget it because she took my hand back and she was like, you have a lot of decisions to make and you don't have to make them right now. But when you do, you need to make them with your gut because your head and your heart are never going to agree. You need to make these decisions with your gut. She's like, promise me. And so I said, I promise. And that was the last time I ever saw her. And she was phenomenal. She's actually part of the reason I got back into nursing, I should say.
Nice.
So
shout out to Jamie if she's listening.
For sure. She was awesome.
You actually just answered a question that
Jamie
I was
Doe.
premeditating in my head. I was going to ask you, from this traumatic experience, did that bring you to a big productive decision in your life? And you said you wanted to be a nurse.
Yeah, it's actually, well, I'll get there. So I get moved to this floor and I'm on a lot of drugs now. So I have a morphine headache because morphine gives me the worst migraine I learned ever. It's terrible.
It's terrible.
But so I'm like half awake, half asleep.
You got headaches too, Max, when you get morphine?
Yeah.
It's a total rebound thing. It's god awful. But I hear my mom laugh down the hall and I'm like I felt every muscle just relax. Like this breath I had been holding for so long was just gone. I'm like, okay.
Nice.
So my mom shows up in the doorway and I see her and she's like, hey, what happened, kid? And I'm like, Mommy, I got shot. And I just start crying. I'm going to start crying right now. Yeah. But like I just started crying and she's like, I know, you're okay. And so it was just crazy. So I was hospitalized for 24 hours because the bullet miraculously hit nothing. If it had been an inch any other way, it would have either permanently maimed me or possibly killed me.
God was in there just moving the bullet through you.
For real. I don't, because it doesn't.
Soft tissue.
There's like so many similarities compared to your story and my story because like the roof of my car If it was an inch, I would have broken.
Yeah.
I would have been dead.
Yeah. And
It's,
that's just like,
just
it's
an inch.
yeah. And it's crazy. And it always makes me laugh, like telling people that story. Cause I mean, I grew up playing softball like every other self-respecting lesbian. Are you sneezing?
Well, now I'm not because you made me nervous.
I'm sorry.
Thanks.
I do that often.
Go back to crying.
Well, so I grew
bless
up
you.
playing softball,
Thanks.
and we always said that baseball and softball is a game of inches. Whether it's like being safe at home or like missing a pop flight, like baseball and softball and life are a game of inches. And so that always like made me laugh whenever I tell that story, because I'm like, oh, damn, like my coaches were right. I would never tell them that, but my coaches were right. But so, yeah, I was out of the hospital in 24 hours, and I went home and started my life from scratch. And
Did you not see your ex-wife since then, like until the court date?
Well, I couldn't.
Because she was apprehended.
She was in jail. So I was at the,
Justice.
yeah, I was at that hearing. So at that point, she could still call me. And so I was talking to her, and like one of the biggest red flags was like, I'm in the hospital, I'm shot, things like that. She calls me, and the first thing she says to me is, please don't leave me.
Oh, yeah.
And for the first time in my entire relationship with her I said, I can't make that promise.
Was this your like first real relationship with a girl?
No.
First marriage, right?
First marriage.
Oh, yeah, well, marriage.
Yeah. No, I mean, and we were together for like 5 years.
I feel that sucks.
Things kind of started changing a lot when she got into the union, just because like the workload was different, and then she was making way more money than me, and that became a huge issue. And so like she had this like feeling of I'm the protector and things like that, and I'm just like, I don't need to be protected. And like it's crazy. It's a weird feeling in life when the person that you would take a bullet for is the one holding or pulling the trigger.
No fucking doubt.
So that was like, so I moved back into my parents' house with nothing because she had the house. Her family was now in town, so they were all staying at the house. Plus, I didn't even want to frickin' be there. So I got really used to saying this is my new normal.
I mean, like, it sounds like you're steering this ship into the ocean. You're going to become Christopher Columbus and actually discover something that he wasn't trying to discover.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. It was complete and utter uncharted territory.
Yeah.
And it was terrifying. But at the same time, it was like the most defining moment of my life. I started going to counseling through the, the crisis center. They set you up with, if you call them, they set you up with a counselor. And then at one point, one of my practice manager picked me up from therapy because I didn't have my car and I couldn't drive. I was on narcotics, not that I was using them. But she picked me up and we went to Applebee's, and she was like, do you want to go get a drink? I'm like, no, I just want a Sprite. Like, I don't want to drink because the last time I drank, I lost control and then this happened. Like, I'm just not in that headspace. So we sat and we talked, and she actually looked at me and she's like, I will keep you as an employee for as long as I possibly can, but you need to ask yourself what kind of life you want. And so she started asking me some pretty heavy questions.
Wait, employee for where?
This is when I was still working at the animal hospital.
Animal hospital, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she was
So
like,
glad they cared.
oh, she was at my graduation. I just saw her a couple weeks ago. Like, she is such a huge part of my life. She'll never she would like laugh and call me a dumbass if I were to tell her, but she was a huge catalyst to kind of what was to come.
You gotta love animal lovers, you know. Like,
Oh, yeah.
they're
Oh yeah,
always the
we're all
best.
just a bunch of psychos.
Well, we're all psychos in this house. Right?
That's yep.
Fur
I'm all
buddies.
right with it. I'm with my people.
Yeah, check out the music back.
I know, she's so cute. She's just snoozing.
All right, carry on.
So she was like, with that being said, like, what calls you? And at first I was like, because at that point, whenever I went to my old house, I had to have a police escort because she wasn't allowed to be in the house. There was no contact. Like she couldn't call me. She had to be out of the house, but I needed clothes and I needed my car and like all these other things. And so I would go in there and I would start talking to all the police officers. So I met the police officer that found the bullet. I met the police officer that took care of my dogs. Like they were all so awesome.
I didn't know the officers take care of the dogs.
Yeah, so whenever they were fine, because we had, what do we have, 3 dogs? We had 3 dogs. And they were like, he's like, your dogs are so sweet. Like, we let them out, we fed them. And I was like, you guys are awesome. And they were like, we see a lot of crazy things. And like, for you to come in and be laughing and joking and things like that after everything that happened to you, how do you do it? And I just looked at him, I said, I could very well be dead right now, and I'm not. Mm-hmm. I just don't have the energy to be anything other than thankful.
Facts.
And so we went and got my car and I was getting my stuff, and the one police officer, he looks at my dad and he's like, she's just so strong. She's so strong. Like, where does she get this from? And my dad didn't know that I heard it, but I told my mom after because she deserved to hear it.
And your mom is finally like, it's because she's a lesbian.
No, because my mom was at home. It was just me and my dad. And so my dad, he kind of looks at me and he looks at the police officer and he smiles.
Girl
and
power.
He's like, she gets that from her mother. And I'm like, you need to stop with your cuteness. Get the hell out of here.
You're like, you guys are too in love.
This is tragedy.
All the time. Give me a fucking break.
So I was talking to my practice manager about like, what are my next steps? And I was like, the police officers were great. Like, I would love to help people when they're at that worst like that. And she's like, that's great. And I think you'd be a great police officer. But how do you feel about shooting a gun? And I was like, nah, I'm good. And she's like, okay, so that's off the table. And then I told her about Jamie and the other nurses that were just amazing. And she's like, I think that's a better idea. And that's when I decided, like, all right, well, we're going to give nursing school another shot and kind of see what happens. But so she was just a huge catalyst in kind of what was to come.
Awesome.
And
everyone needs.
It's always good to have it's always good to have a mentor.
Yeah.
I have a mentor. I'm pretty sure Eric has one. And then you have one.
Yeah.
So,
you need it. Because you need that person that you know is going to call you on your shit and tell you how it is, but then also have those difficult conversations.
Yeah, that's just hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Max's mentor that calls him out on his shit is a battalion chief commander.
That's way more terrifying than like my practice manager of the vet hospital.
Terrifying is an understatement. Whenever Max feels like he fucked up in any type of way, he's already imagining the wrath of his mentor.
He's literally so hard on me. Like he will call me and just fucking obliterate me. I'll just sit there and be like, okay.
Dude.
Dude,
sometimes I hear Max's voice quiver, like he's holding back the tears.
That's a terrible feeling. Okay, can we just talk about that? That is a terrible feeling where you know it's coming and you're like, I won't let you see me cry, motherfucker.
You're holding your breath.
You don't understand, like he doesn't stop though. He's like relentless and he's like really articulate and he like uses big words.
But in a weird way.
I have to look that up later.
But in a weird way, Max is thankful for this.
No, I am thankful for it.
Absolutely.
I am 100%. I needed to be put in my place. So, I mean, everyone needs a mentor.
Yeah.
I think it's good. And I think it's awesome that you became a nurse. Like, shout out to Jamie.
Yeah.
When I got in my car accident, I think I went through that phase where you do crazy shit. You know how your ex-wife was doing crazy shit right after she did it. Like, I was just thinking of crazy shit. I couldn't actually do it.
Yeah.
But it's I'm blessed to be alive, even though there's been some trials, and I'm happy you're blessed to be alive, and you're helping people that was like Jamie, which is awesome. That's the real question. It's like, who do you want? Like, who's your Superman? who's the person that,
Superwoman.
well, yeah. I'm just saying,
Be
like,
politically correct.
or whatever. Like, who's the person that you're gonna look up to, like in the comic books, you know? And like that person for me was my battalion commander.
Yeah.
That person for you is Jamie. And now you're not alone. You didn't just find this land, you know. You made this land. You have a girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
You have a girlfriend for 3 years now.
2 years, but we've
2
been living together
years.
for over a year.
Over a year.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you get past the living together, I think you're good.
Yeah. Oh, and
Yeah.
we've built furniture together, which I think is a true testament to
that's
any
a big
relationship, which is it was terrifying.
That's a big step. On the subject of having a mentor and how important it is, not only do I encourage someone to find that mentor, but I also encourage people after being mentored to be a mentor
Yeah.
when they have that opportunity
Exactly.
to influence someone.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm asking you, you know, after you got back on your feet and became this golden star lesbian again, you know, have you had the opportunity to mentor anyone in your life?
I don't know. I hope so.
You mentored
I
me.
think you'll know once.
Oh,
once
well,
you got
I
there.
have a friend at work who he just graduated nursing school, and in nursing school they do what's called a pinning ceremony, which is when you graduate from the program. You haven't necessarily taken your NCLEX yet or anything like that, but it's the person who pins you. You pick is someone that you're proud to welcome you into the nursing community. So for me, I picked my mom, which was a huge, because I had like Jamie, but my mom is also a huge mentor. Phenomenal nurse. She's now a nurse practitioner.
Oh, you guys are both nurses.
Yeah. Well,
Did
she's
you
a
already
nurse
mention this?
practitioner.
That's cute as
She's
fuck.
an NP.
Yeah, she's an NP.
It's okay, like get it fucking correct.
All
You're
right,
right.
all right.
But
Hey,
I mean,
hey,
no,
don't
she's
shoot
still.
me.
No, she's awesome. She's been doing it for twice, years. So I think like 20 years ish. My mom. So she's awesome. So I chose her because it was just very, very symbolic. And so this friend at work, I pinned him. Which was hilarious because as I'm pinning him, because he's a gay man, so as I'm pinning him, I'm like, I'm penetrating you. So it was just ridiculous.
So I have to say, like, a PSA, to be honest with you, like,
Public
Shout-
service announcement.
shout out to all the nurses out there, honestly, because I wouldn't be here. A lot of people wouldn't be here. The nurse that got a hold of my family did something completely unethical, but she got a hold of my family. She used my thumb to open my iPhone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But shout out to all the nurses that care, you know, like that they go to their job, they care, they're not the like ones that like stay in like the freaking the break room, you know, like I've had a lot of really good nurses, especially my home care nurses. I just wanted to like shout them out because like you're a nurse now and like you're going to be mentoring someone as well. I want to mentor people. If I ever go to the city and move there, I want to go to RIC at Shirley Island Ability Lab and talk to people who just got in a car accident and tell them, yo, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine.
Yeah, and that's huge.
It's going to suck, but it's going to be fine. Like this, trust me, this is going to suck, but it's going to be fine. It's going to be well worth it, you know? So I feel like mentors are just like inevitable, like, and you're going to become a mentor.
I hope so.
You just don't know when.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like,
Shout out to all those nurses.
Yeah. Thanks,
All the
family.
good nurses. You know who you are.
I like how you preface it with all the good nurses. Like, not a shout out to the bad nurses.
Eric, you remember on the call, the 911 call, like this nurse was like she was like freaking relentless. Like she was trying everything to figure out the information.
Oh yeah, shout out to her. You know, she's taking the extra steps. She's not just treating the next patient like paperwork.
Yeah.
You know,
Like she knew my name, that's it. And she just connected all the dots and she got to the point where like she knew where I was from, you know. And she got to the point where she had to use my phone. to open my phone.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it was unethical, she did the right thing. And also, you were talking about mentoring after that. I feel like this podcast can give yourself and myself and any guest that we have on the show a perfect opportunity to be a mentor
Yeah.
to a wide variety of people.
Yeah.
You know, they might be mentoring, or we might be mentoring people that we don't even know we're mentoring.
Which is terrifying.
And awesome at the same time. You
No,
know?
I mean, yeah, it's nice to like put a word out there and to show people that there's different perspectives in life. Like she got shot, and like it's probably the best thing that ever happened to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I paralyzed, not the best thing that ever happened to me, but I'm still here. I'm still kicking, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm still trying to push motivation, inspiration to the people who listen to Life to the Max. You know, that's so. I got 2 questions for you. All right.
go.
So, what is one of the little things that you have, but you like? If it was gone, like you would be like, holy fuck. Like for me, it's breathing. What would it be for you?
Strap-ons.
Those are big things.
Yeah, some of those are big.
I bet she has a variety of
I
sizes.
think my ability. I think that just like my way of thinking. I think that I think differently than a lot of people, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's like because of the things I've been through and because I've had family members go to, like being in the ICU or just in the hospital in general, like bath time to me is huge. Like for my patients, like bathing them, like washing their hair, brushing their hair, shaving them, like that's a huge thing to me because when I was in the hospital, even though it was only for 24 hours, I couldn't shower. So I was covered in my own blood. And the only thing I could do was brush my teeth. So I probably brushed my teeth 25 times in 24 hours because it's the only thing.
I hated that when I got in the accident. I didn't brush my teeth for 2 days. It was disgusting.
Yeah, but it's the little things like that make you still feel relevant and like a human being.
Yeah.
So I think that's just like my experiences have changed the way that I think.
Speak on that a little bit more. You said when you're bathing your clients, that's one of the biggest things to you.
So,
Patience.
well, because some of my patients, I mean, we do have, obviously we have ventilators in the intensive care unit. But so I have my favorite patients actually that I get are my chronic trach to vents.
But I'm the coolest.
You are the coolest, for sure.
I'm just fucking.
For sure. But just because my patients that are trach to vent have a very, very special place in my heart. One, because I will always root for the underdog. But 2, I feel like a lot of times, and Max, I don't know if you can attest to this, when you're in the hospital, you're overlooked because you have a ventilator, but you can't, and you may not as much as some of the ones that I've seen because you're not fully cuffed and you can talk, but sometimes, but because of that, you're almost treated like you're intubated and on a vent. So you're completely aware and coherent of everything happening around you, but you
That's
can't.
exactly how I felt.
But you can't
during
say
septic
what
shock.
you need.
That's
And
exactly how I felt.
So
during the septic
yeah.
shock.
So my trach to vents have a very, very special place in my heart because I will always go through the extra mile. I had this patient who, her and I had it down to a rhythm where she did not. Our bath time is midnight. I think it's a terrible time to tell someone to take a bath. But she would be up at about 5 o'clock. Well, my shift ends at 7. So at 5 o'clock, I would go in and we'd wash her hair. We'd brush her hair. I would give her a bath, and then I would lotion on her legs because her legs were dry.
Yeah.
And so we had it down to a rhythm, and I loved that woman and she loved me. But it's taking that extra step to letting people know that they're still relevant. Like you're still here. You still matter. Your needs still matter. So I have a patient right now who, he's not trached, but I shave him the other day. He was getting ready for dialysis the next morning. So I shaved him. He had his little goatee. I shaved him. We washed and brushed his hair. We gave him a bath. We made sure he was all clean with his sheets and everything like that. Like, it's something that I take very, very seriously because I know what it's like to not have that taken seriously.
That's
I can relate to that.
yeah, you can, especially with me. Like at the hospital, like do you think the nurses were like kind of what she was describing?
The last visit, I feel like your nurses did care.
No, the last visit.
Yeah.
But during septic shock.
Before that, I do agree because you couldn't speak. They're just in and out.
Yeah, they're just in and out.
Yeah.
They like don't even like I'll be like.
They don't have any patience to play charades.
Yeah.
I'll be like. You know what I mean? Like, and like they won't sit there and help.
And it just takes time. And unfortunately, like, our healthcare system is a mess. And I can't say whether those nurses didn't care or they were tripled and just at max capacity. I can't really speak to that because sometimes it is one of those things where I'm literally just running and I don't sit down to chart until 5 a.m. when I started at 7 p.m. But it is something I try to take the extra mile to go into. And that's why also when I came in, when you were in septic shock, I was kind of explaining what all your drips were and like why you were getting them. And then when they said,
let the people know. Crazy thing is, when Max was in the hospital having septic shock,
in July.
I think you came in like on his 4th day there.
I did.
Yeah. Megan walks in and informs Max everything he needed to know. Not the doctor, not the other nurses.
I didn't know. I don't know if anybody talked to him, so I can't say like.
Maybe
don't make
you. You just gave us like certain details that he needed to hear.
Well,
comforting information.
I love education, so I actually plan on going to get my master's so that I can teach because education is huge. And it's one thing to say, hey, we're going to give you all this potassium. Okay, why? That's important. And when I came in and I had asked about physical therapy for you, and I believe it was you, Eric, that said that.
I think they laughed or something.
Well, I think that Eric said that if you weren't a quadriplegic, they would have you walking up and down the halls, but because you are. And then I told the nurse, I'm like, okay, so he gets physical therapy at home. So when's physical therapy coming? Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, but here in the ICU. And I was like,
we'll put the order in. Yeah, we'll put the order in next day. Yeah, we'll put the order in.
Well,
Yeah.
I stopped her because she's like, well, here in the ICU. I'm like, I'm also an ICU nurse. And I know that you guys are slammed. And I know the physical therapy slammed. Like, I know that it's a mess.
You got a lesbian on our team, Max. She gonna handle it for us.
I know it's a mess. And I know that everybody's short. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you can short your patients.
Yeah.
And so I think, did they come work with you finally after that?
No.
I don't think we ended up getting
Well, there's that.
You
can try all you want.
We didn't get therapy. It was you told me everything that was going on. I mean, I didn't even know what the machines were. I was going through septic shock. I mean, it's been a lot. You know, I'm happy you're there. I'm happy you became a nurse. You know, and teaching is huge, and I would love to be a teacher as well, a history teacher. But teaching is like the biggest thing because it's for our children and our children's children and the generations. So that I totally agree with you with your the little things that you have, and I've never heard someone say the little things like that. Just so bravo to that.
Well, thank you.
The last thing is, what is something like that you value, like that, like gives you like a purpose to live your life to the max?
That's a very, very good question. I would say that there are two little people in my life. There's my nephew Roman and my girlfriend's son, my stepson Javi. Just because those boys are relentless and crazy and just rambunctious, but I want to pave a road for them, and I want to show them that it's okay to be unapologetically you and to go after your dreams hard. And even if you fall, you get back up and you do it again. Very and nice. Just teach them to live life to the max.
That's really good. Yeah, let's go.
Hell yeah. You need to come more often. You're
I
going to
will.
boost our viewers.
Yay!
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about the fact that you need more estrogen.
What makes you say that?
I have listened to some of your all of the podcasts. I keep current, and
Golden Star for
I know
Megan
I'm
once
just getting
again.
them all.
Yeah.
And there are just some gentleman
Raunchy.
views
Oh, I know.
that were very cringeworthy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think is what the cool
Who-
kids say.
What or who are you talking
What's
about?
the one that you just posted about how gentlemen and women should
Everyone.
react?
Everyone
Our
always
last
asks
post
Yeah.
about
was
that.
Christian Torres,
Yeah.
Castro.
Yeah.
Is that who you're talking about?
I believe so. Let
Hey,
me-
what's this number?
You wanna call him in? You wanna
No, I don't want to call him in. I feel so. I just read a thing on Facebook that
let Megan talk about it.
I just read a thing on Facebook that some billionaires, I think it was Jay-Z, said that like his advice is to not argue with foolishness because people from afar can't tell who's who. So at that point, I don't think it's worth the call because he's very, very set in his ways.
I was getting ready to shoot you down because don't talk about my man Jay-Z like that.
No. I love
That
Jay-Z.
was a good quote.
But
That's how he's with Beyonce.
yeah, exactly. But I just
Jay-Z and J. Cole. Something about the J's. They just
Yeah,
go so hard.
they
you know
do.
what I'm saying?
But I think that if that's how you want to live your life, that's great. I don't see why we as women should save ourselves for marriage and play the good. I'm sorry, I don't know how to do a finger wave in my hair, and goddamn, you would be scared if you saw me in a dress because that's just not me. I don't know why we still
I
think
would be,
of.
actually.
I don't know why we still think of that 1950s philosophy, but yet it's okay if you go and cheat on your woman. Like, what? First off, as a man, you don't understand the massive amounts of second guessing every single part
Christian.
of yourself and your life if you are cheated on.
Torres.
Max likes picking sides to
But-
whoever's stronger in the situation.
I just like,
Damn, we're losing lights. That
oh
means-
no, I've seen and I've been cheated on. And I've had friends that have been cheated on, and you, as a woman, you literally question everything. You question, why wasn't I good enough?
Yeah.
Why didn't I do this?
Yeah.
What if I had done this differently?
I do feel like
And,
that feeling is both ways.
Yeah, and it's a terrible feeling, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
You know what? I want to bring him here, and you guys.
I don't think it
duke
would end
out.
well, Max.
Duke it out. Come
Because
on.
he seems like, and I'm sure he's lovely, because I mean, you guys are great. Like, so I'm not bagging on him as a
Yeah.
person. I just think that as a woman, I can't speak to the man's point of view. So as a man,
No, I
don't
think-
fucking try to be a woman.
But we'll be the mediators.
It won't be duke it out. There won't be
Yeah.
mediators. On Life to the Max, when we have debates, we keep it cordial, we keep it professional, and we keep it intelligent. You like to educate?
And
I
sexual.
do like to educate.
Well, then,
I
when
like
we
to
debate,
educate
we will
people who are
combine the
open to
education.
being educated. That's the difference.
Well, then we'll get Christian okay to being educated.
yeah, okay.
All right, end this episode with how you're living life to the max today. How you're living life to the max in present time.
She already said, man.
Yeah.
She's living it with her kids.
Yeah.
The nephew
Yeah,
and her
with the little
son.
ones, and then also getting people who are horribly sick and their family members to get them to where they can get back to their life and living it to the max.
Very nice. Okay, if I were to give a variation of that question, what advice would you give to people to live life to the max?
The advice I would give to other people
Everyone
is
listening.
everyone listening. The advice I would give. So number one
Be
rule.
the best lesbian you can.
Yeah, gold star. Number one rule: don't be a douchebag.
That's a good one.
That would
a
be
good
my
I'm
one.
kind
advice.
of a douchebag
Yeah,
sometimes.
that's why I looked at Max real quick. Help me change his behavior. I've been doing a good job, but it's definitely it's a lot of weight on my shoulders.
Hey, shut the fuck up, man.
See that? You see that?
Fuck up.
All right, this was a very good episode.
That
I
was-
enjoyed this.
That was it. Was good.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of
Thanks for
course,
telling your story twice.
yeah,
It did feel like I was hearing it all over.
I know,
like,
I saw
for
you.
the
You were
first
like-
time.
This time it wasn't.
Yeah, you got what? You got shot?
This time it wasn't like raunchy and like
Yeah, that was a
sexual.
very raunchy episode when I listened to
it
him,
was
like,
pretty, yeah.
My mom would not be proud of me.
incognito.
Talk about the first one?
Yeah.
Well, Max was the director, and that's what he was asking for.
I mean, it was. Like,
Yeah, you were.
we had a gay guy and a lesbian.
Hold on, let's
Really?
just give a flashback. George is crying about coming out of the closet because his father didn't take it well and abandoned the family as a result.
Yeah, that's
and Max
bad.
interrupts him and says, "Okay, enough of this soft shit, George. I want to hear Alpha George. How many guys have you fucked?" While he's wiping his face,
I know.
you know.
Fuck,
He's like,
dude.
a lot.
Wait. Let me reenact this for the people. Max falls asleep. George is crying. Max wakes up. All right, George, what the fuck are you crying about? Tell me how many guys you fucked.
Yeah.
All right. And Megan's like, "Whoa, hey, George, I just want to tell you, you are a strong individual.
Jesus.
You are strong." And Max is like, "I'm going back to sleep."
I did not go back to sleep.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
I wish we had cameras back then,
Oh my
but I guess the
gosh.
people are just going to believe
No
what they want to
pic, no
believe.
proof.
All right.
that's it.
Max, conclude this episode.
Comment below if I fell asleep or not. All right? Comment below if you like the podcast. All right,
Yeah.
we're going to conclude this, all right? Hey, peace out, everyone, and one love.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Me and Max, we getting paid every day.
hard?